This podcast includes content created using artificial intelligence tools. All information is for general purposes only and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or regulatory advice. Listeners should verify information independently and consult qualified professionals for personalized guidance.
Welcome to the Luxembourg Fundcast.
Before we continue, we'd like to mention that the Luxembourg Fundcast is created and produced by Bertrand Mariot, a practicing regulatory lawyer admitted to the Luxembourg and Paris bars. The mission of this podcast is to bring clear, free, and reliable information sourced from official references that are carefully curated and continually updated and refined through high-standard, evolving prompt and context engineering on Luxembourg's financial regulation and investment funds to professionals and anyone interested in the Luxembourg Financial Center. Welcome. Today we're diving into something, pretty transformative in the world of lending here in Luxembourg.
Absolutely. We're looking at a really profound shift in how credit risk is managed, moving beyond just looking backwards at the balance sheet.
Exactly. It's about becoming much more dynamic, proactive. And just to set the context for everyone listening, all our analysis today is based on the information available as of right now, October 15th, 2025.
Good point. Things move fast.
They do. So our main focus is CSSF Circular 22-824. This is the piece that brings the European banking authorities, the EBA's guidelines on loan origination and monitoring into Luxembourg law.
And those EBA guidelines are key here. EBA-GL 2006 for reference.
Right. And for those of you needing the headlines up front, here are the two big takeaways we see. First, this whole framework forces a move away from just thinking about the loan transaction.
Yeah.
It demands continuous stewardship right across the entire life of the loan. It's a completely different mindset.
It really is. The old way is basically gone.
And second takeaway, ESG, environmental, social, governance factors. They're not just nice-to-haves anymore.
Definitely not.
They are now officially part of the hard calculation, tangible, measurable drivers of credit risk. Ignore them, and, it could seriously impact the balance sheet.
That's the core regulatory ambition, isn't it? That shift from transactional lending to, as you said, mandated stewardship.
So where did this all come from? What's the why behind it?
Well, you need to go back a bit. It really came out of the European Council's 2017 action plan, which itself was, a direct reaction to the huge problem of non-performing loans, NPLs, after the financial crisis.
The NPL cleanup. We spent years on that.
Exactly. But the crucial difference here is the focus. Most previous efforts were about managing the NPLs that already existed, sort of cleaning up the mess.
Right.
These guidelines and the CSSF circular are about prevention, making sure that new loans that start out performing, don't go bad down the line.
So it's prophylactic, not just reactive.
Precisely. It's a fundamental change in how supervisors are thinking. It means looking at everything internal governance, how loans are originated, and crucially, how they're monitored continuously, cradle to grave.
And the CSSF made this concrete for Luxembourg with Circular 22-824. You mentioned the date it kicked in.
March 31st, 2023. So it's been in force for a while now.
Okay. And who exactly needs to comply? Is it just the traditional banks?
Well, yes. Credit institutions and third country branches are definitely in scope. That's the obvious part. But importantly, it also captures professionals performing lending operations under Article 28-4 of the LFS, the Law of 1993, on the financial sector.
So it casts a wider net.
It does. It aims for broad coverage across the financial center. The CSSF is using its powers under the LFS, think Article 38-1 on governance, Article 53-15 on supervising credit risk, to really push this through. Sound risk management is the baseline expectation now. Okay,
let's talk about that governance overhaul. You mentioned ESG becoming a hard credit risk. That sounds like the biggest potential disruptor here.
I think it is. If you look at Section 4.3.5 of the EBA guidelines, it's explicit. Institutions must consider ESG factors in their credit risk appetite, their policies, their procedures.
But hang on, ESG isn't new. We've been talking about it for years. Is this really a game changer, or just putting formal language around existing best practice? Is it genuinely a measurable risk?
It's absolutely a game changer in regulatory terms. Because the circular forces ESG out of the, let's say, the corporate social responsibility silo and puts it right into the core creditworthiness assessment. It's not abstract anymore. It's about, could an ESG failure actually impact the borrower's ability to pay their debt? If yes, it's quantifiable risk.
Can you give an example? Make it concrete.
Sure. Take the E for environmental. A borrower in, say, a high-carbon sector, they clearly face transition risk.
Meaning
future climate regulations, carbon taxes, whatever comes down the line, that could directly hit their cash flow.
Yeah.
And therefore, their ability to service the loan, that's a hard risk.
Okay, makes sense.
Or the S, social. Maybe a company with poor labor practices. That raises operational risks, reputational risks, potential legal costs.
Yeah.
All things that can destabilize their finances.
So you're saying ESG risk modeling now needs dedicated budget, real resources, a seat at the main credit committee table.
Absolutely. It has to. It's mandated.
Wow. Okay, that really does shift the ground. So for anyone involved in drafting loan agreements, legal teams, risk professionals, this means ESG clauses aren't just add-ons anymore.
Not at all.
They need the same rigor as the core financial covenants because, as you said, they're now officially tied to the borrower's ability to pay.
Precisely.
So let's get practical. How does this policy actually change the contracts, the loan agreements themselves?
Well, it starts with due diligence. Yep. Section 5.2 of the EBA guidelines makes it clear. You need more than just historical financials now.
Right. Looking backwards isn't enough.
None more. Lenders need realistic, sustainable future income projections, cash flow forecasts, backed up by solid business plans, sensitivity analysis. The loan agreement has to reflect this forward-looking approach.
So what clauses are most affected?
Representations and warranties, definitely. They need to be broader. They have to cover the accuracy of ESG disclosures, the business plan assumptions, ongoing compliance with environmental laws, social standards.
And crucially, what happens if those warranties are breached?
It has to be a potential event of default. Actionable.
Okay, what else?
The big one, I think, the real battleground now, is information covenants.
Why is that?
Because of the ongoing monitoring requirement. Section 8 of the guidelines. Lenders need a constant stream of data to assess risk over the life of the loan.
So the contract needs to give them the right to ask for what kinds of things?
All sorts. Think quarterly carbon emission reports, results from supply chain audits, specific ESG performance metrics. It basically turns the loan file from a static document into a living one.
Hold on. Let me play devil's advocate here. Are you saying a company could be perfectly solvent, paying its interest on time, cash rich, but if they miss submitting, say, a quarterly ESG report, that could trigger a default, accelerate the whole loan? Isn't that punishing paperwork over performance?
It's punishing a failure of transparency that the regulator now demands. The circular requires that continuous visibility into risks that might only become financial problems in 2, 3, 5 years.
I see.
So if the borrower contractually agreed to provide that information and then fails to, yes, that breach of the information covenant gives the lender leverage. It's the mechanism to manage risk before it hits the financials. It's about complying with the CSSF's mandate.
Okay, that reframes it significantly. It's not just about getting paid today. It's about ensuring the lender can monitor future risks effectively. Now, within those covenants, enforceability is key. You sometimes see obligation of means versus obligation of result. Can you explain that?
Yes, and it's critical. And obligation of means might say the borrower will use best commercial efforts to hit certain targets.
Which sounds vague, hard to enforce.
Exactly. Very difficult to litigate. What lenders want and what the regulation pushes towards is an obligation of result, something measurable.
Like what?
Like the borrower ensures its Scope 1 and 2 greenhouse gas emissions for year X do not exceed Y tons of CO2 equivalent. That's clear. You measure it, you audit it. If they exceed it, it's a breach. Actionable.
Got it. Much clearer. We're also seeing more innovative clauses like the sustainability-linked pricing ratchet. How does that work?
Right, that's a really interesting one. It directly links the cost of borrowing the interest rate margin to the borrower's ESG performance.
So hit your targets, pay less interest.
Essentially, yes. A typical structure might be achieve target X and the loan margin drops by, say, 5 basis points. Miss the target and the margin increases by 5 basis points.
So it aligns financial incentives with sustainability goals, using cold, hard cash.
Precisely. It's a powerful tool.
And just quickly, it's important to distinguish that from a pure green loan, right?
Absolutely. A green loan has strict rules about how the money is used. It must fund specific eligible green projects. A sustainability-linked loan, using that pricing ratchet, can often be for general corporate purposes, but the cost of the loan changes based on ESG performance. Different tools for different needs.
All this complexity must make loan negotiations intense.
Oh, definitely. You've got the lender side, under pressure from the CSSF, needing maximum control, clear, quantifiable targets, strong remedy.
And the borrower side?
They're trying to manage the reporting burden, negotiate realistic targets, maybe argue about materiality thresholds, trying to avoid tripping up on an administrative detail while still meeting genuine sustainability goals. It requires very careful drafting.
Okay, so we've established the rules are complex, the contracts are changing fundamentally. What about actually implementing this? What's the operational cost, the challenge for institutions? Is this a massive IT project?
It's certainly up there. Think about the data requirements.
Yeah.
You need IT systems that can actually handle and process all this new, often non-financial data, environmental metrics, social data, supply chain info.
Ongoing monitoring, yeah.
Exactly. Then there's staff training. Your credit teams need to understand complex ESG risk analysis. It's not traditional financial analysis.
Right.
And institutions are relying much more on external experts, specialist property valuers who understand green buildings, ESG consultants, auditors. It's a significant investment across the board.
This level of complexity, though, does it open up opportunities for how legal services are provided, moving beyond just hourly billing?
I think it absolutely does.
Yeah.
This kind of large-scale regulatory implementation project is, frankly, not well suited to the old hourly model. It cries out for alternative fee arrangements, AFAs.
How would that work in practice?
Well, you could structure it in phases, maybe a fixed fee for phase one, doing the initial gap analysis of the loan book and policies against the circular. Then perhaps a capped fee for phase two. The heavy lifting of redrafting all the standard loan documents, updating procedures.
And then ongoing.
Maybe an ongoing monthly retainer for phase three. That covers continuous advice, team training, helping structure the really complex new deals under the new framework. It positions the legal advisor as more of a strategic partner through the whole process.
That makes sense. Let's quickly recap the timeline. This wasn't a gradual thing.
No, definitely not. Phase one was immediate. From March 31st, 2023, all new loans had to comply. No grace period there.
Then phase two, the really tough part.
That was the look back.
Yeah.
Dealing with the legacy portfolio. Institutions had to go back to loans originated before March 2023 and fix any data gaps needed for ongoing monitoring under the new rules.
And there was a hard deadline for that.
Yes, the CSSF set a deadline of June 30th, 2024 to get that remediation done. A huge undertaking for many.
So now, October 2025, we're firmly in phase three.
Correct. Which is effectively business as usual under the new regime. Structuring new deals correctly from the start, and crucially, managing this complex web of ongoing monitoring and potential covenant breaches related to all this new data.
So, despite the cost and complexity, is there a strategic upside?
Definitely. Getting this right isn't just about compliance. It becomes a unique selling point.
How so?
An institution that genuinely masters this embedding ESG risk properly. Structuring these loans effectively positions itself as a leader in sustainable finance. That attracts the growing number of sophisticated corporate borrowers who care about sustainability.
And investors too, presumably?
And institutional investors, absolutely. They have their own ESG mandates and due diligence requirements. Plus, it significantly mitigates greenwashing risk. Done properly, it transforms this regulatory burden into a real commercial advantage.
Okay, let's wrap up by revisiting those key takeaways one last time. First,
transactional lending is dead. Loan origination, thanks to CSSF Circular 22824, is now a proactive, continuous risk management process across the entire life cycle.
Got it. And second,
ESG isn't optional or soft. It must be hard-coded into loan agreements through measurable, enforceable terms that directly impact risk and potentially pricing.
A fundamental shift indeed. Any final thought for our listeners to take away?
I think the biggest challenge going forward isn't just writing clever clauses. It's the practical reality of managing the evidence. How do you prove compliance or breach based on potentially complex ESG data continuously over a 10 or 15-year loan term? That demands ongoing investment in technology, data capabilities, and frankly, strategic thinking. It's a marathon, not a sprint. A very pertinent point to end on. This podcast is a collaborative and free resource that improves continually, so your comments or requests for new topics are highly welcome, especially on YouTube. We want to be a helpful strength for everyone working in the Luxembourg Financial Center at all levels. We are often asked how you can help us. Well, a great way to help is by subscribing to our shows on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, as well as on Apple Podcasts, where a 5-star rating would really help us. You can also like our videos and subscribe to our YouTube channels, Rigore Media and Bertrand Mario Avocats. All relevant links will be available in the show notes. For our French-speaking listeners, you can also find our sister podcast in French. It was the Luxembourg Fundcast for you today.
This podcast includes content created using artificial intelligence tools. All information is for general purposes only and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or regulatory advice. Listeners should verify information independently and consult qualified professionals for personalized guidance.